Hey guys, I'm Rhaj Paul. This is #Tailored. Welcome to episode 2, Cut Clean. We're gonna see who? Rosca McDonald. Why? Because we're getting into the suit making and we want to see exactly what the process is to bring a beautiful suit to life. So join me. Let's go. I have the privilege and the opportunity to have a small chat with Professor Ramroop of Saville Row Academy of Maurice Sedwell Limited on Saville Row, a top person in the industry, master tailor. Andrew Ramroop, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for your invitation. I look forward to this conversation.
Great. Thank you for being here, man. So first off, because I know you. I had the privilege of meeting you directly on Saville Row when I went up to England. And but so many people don't know who you are, and also don't know very much about Saville Row. So I want you to tell me a little bit quickly who you are and what is the big deal about Saville Row.
Well, who I really am is I am Andrew Ramroop. I'm a husband. I'm a father of a young boy, 20 months old next week. His name is also Andrew. Yep,
right.
Yep, that's big news, I know. Who I am really is as a person. I came from the foothills of the northern range of mountains. I was actually born up in the mountains. And where I currently am, fortunately, in Trinidad at the moment. And I had heard of Saville Row as a young tailor here in Trinidad. And so I saved all my pennies as much as I could. And I got a boat ticket. And I sailed to Saville Row. I left school at a very young age, 13 going on 14. And at that very young age, we didn't do geography. The guys up on the hill would never amount to anything as far as the teachers were concerned. And so I really wanted to be a tailor. And after my 11 plus exam, at age 11 plus age 12 really, I did my exam. I didn't go on to college. I wanted to be a tailor. Saville Row is of course known as the pinnacle of Architecz. Yeah, you've been there. Welcome to there. You've been to my shop in Saville Row. You see what we've done. It is the pinnacle of sartorial excellence. It's reputed to be the street of the finest tailors in the world. I've taken a different view. It used to be, certainly, and has been. And this is more an observation, not a criticism. But the knowledge that has been shared throughout the world through the Saville Row Academy. And I've been taught students in 15 countries now. The mystery of Saville Row, the secrets of Saville Row, is really how we make garments. It's the foundation of the finest suits. They're soft, structured garments. They look structured, like what I'm wearing, but they're soft. You can crumple them up. You can just crumple it up like that. You could do that, and it could still come back and look smooth again. So it's the soft, structured nature of what we do. And of course, it is the handcraft nature of what we do. Right. But for us, it's not speed tailoring. For us, it's creativity, it's the craftsmanship, it's putting ideas together. I was quite deliberate in putting on this jacket today, for instance. For us, it's like matching all the lines. So if you look at the right side here, match the lines on the lapel that follows through to the body and the sleeve. Everything is sort of come together, which is not something you don't usually see on ready-to-wear unless it's a very expensive ready-to-wear.
Right.
So it's how we take a pattern, how we place that pattern on the cloth, how we match and cut and fit in harmony with the customer's body shape, for style, for elegance, for comfort. But I say style as opposed to saying fashion, because very often what they do on Saville Row and what we do is that I take a view certainly, that style is everlasting, whereas fashion is always a moving target. If you want to be in fashion, you got to wear a certain thing. But if you want to always be in style, then you have something that's made especially for you that will outlast fashion.
Rosca McDonald, that's a name that's associated with bespoke quality menswear. We're here in your space, man. Thank you so much for having #Taylor here.
My pleasure.
We've heard your name, but what we want to know is, who's that dude? Who is Rosca McDonald?
The fundamental principles of what I live for are two things. Love God, love people. What I do is really about loving people.
See?
In other words, it's not just about creating a product to make money,
Right.
But I believe in enhancing people's lives with what I do. So when you come to get something made from me, it's not just transactional. I believe in relationship.
I see.
So that's love people. There's certain principles that I adhere to, which is love and fairness and respect and those things.
Okay.
So that's the foundation, and then comes the creative part of me. I mean, art has always been who I am and what I've done as far as I can remember. And so like around 4th, 5th form at Harrison College, I came across tie-dye. I was always an artist, but the thing is that I didn't want my art to be a painting on a wall.
Okay.
Right? I wanted something that is practical, that was functional.
Right. I was living in a sense.
Yeah, and so in lower 6 now, because I did art, biology, and maths, I had a substitute art teacher. She introduced me to fashion. She said, hey, there's a small 3-line section here on the art syllabus for fashion. What do you consider that? And I thought, that's not a bad idea.
Right.
And I have always been meticulous with what I do. Always paying that attention to detail.
Okay.
And so
Just naturally? Just naturally.
And what was interesting was that it's only in later years I began to make the connection between what I did at A levels and what I do now.
I see.
Biology, body, anatomy, understanding, motion, movement,
form,
right?
Yeah.
Mathematics.
Right. Measurements.
It's very technical. When it comes to pattern making, whenever I have like students come in and I say, okay, calculate this, the first thing they go for is calculate. They go for stop that.
Yeah.
Keep your mind sharp, right? And work things in your head. And art, of course, is the actually the creative aspect of it. So everything, they don't know sometimes, but I believe that God guides our steps as we go through life, and then you see
things come together.
How things weave,
Definitely.
how things are woven together.
I dig it. Nice, man. Let me ask you this, because your journey was to leave Trinidad at an early age, head over to England where the action was, more or less, and position yourself in such a way that you could function at a top level in the field where it was already being regarded that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you in Saville Row is regarded that way before you turned up, so you get to share in everything that's going on over there. My question is really about, especially given our climate of limited mobility, how does a top tailor, suit maker in a small island who isn't traveling out to the big international community, in your opinion, how do we make ourselves heard, known, seen, felt, bought into from right where we are?
I believe that your geography does not determine your quality. You don't necessarily have to be Saville Row to be the best tailor in the world. You don't necessarily have to be on Saville Row to be producing exportable goods. It is your standard of craftsmanship, the quality, the importance that you actually give, and the love and all the emotions that you can put together, the enthusiasm that you would have in your craft. You take it to an exportable level, is based very much, to take it onto an exportable level, it is based very much on the standards of craftsmanship, because it's a very, very competitive field out there. It's very competitive. And what you've got to do is actually, your competition is not everyone else who's in the same marketplace, but your competition is with yourself, in that you want to produce the finest standards and to stand out in an interesting way. What I have done is that I've taken the suit, like what looks like what everybody else is wearing, but I've created ownership of a design that is a uniquely Maurice Sedwell or Andrew Ramroop design. And I made it exportable. Now more than 99% of the suits that we make is our own individual signature designs. So in this environment, in the Caribbean, for instance, it is not focusing on beachwear only. It is not focusing on summer wear only. It is, if you do that, it's a very, very small market. But if you want to create an export market, as I have done, I've exported suits into 60 countries. It is that you have to create a product that is exportable in the standard of craftsmanship first and foremost. Because everyone can make suits, but there are different standards of suits. Everyone can go out in the store and buy a suit. Well, notwithstanding COVID, of course. But you can go out in the store and buy a suit. But there are different levels. Why would you buy a suit for $99 or you would pay $9,000 US dollars for it? You know, what it is that distinguishes those levels of suit. You've got to decide where your marketplace is going to lie, and that is where you do it. Basically, it's doing a little bit of research on who your market is. We've got very much a niche market because we're quite pricey. You know, we're expensive, but I sometimes say in jest, we're expensive to those who can't afford it. But it's expensive relative because some people can't afford a meal. You know.
So Rosca, considering that off of the fashion program, there are many directions that you could have gone. I'm interested in knowing why suiting, why suit making, why I guess particularly menswear tailoring. I'm interested in knowing why, and also I know that subsequently you also did the training with Saville Row Academy with Professor Andrew Ramroop. So I want you to tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I can tell you this, having graduated community college using a certificate program, then the program is heavily pronged on women's wear, right? So I mean, year in, year out, most of those collections are female collections, right? Around the time I was kind of looking to see what they had for men, right? And very little was being provided at that sort of time, and so I gravitated towards menswear. So in the earlier years, there's more design and collections. Right. So I pretty much coming out of community college, I did a lot of reading, a lot of research. In fact,
personal research.
Yeah, personal research. Even today, listen, you never stop learning. Never. Right? And so I know I've reached a certain level of skill in terms of what I do. Am I contented with that? No. And I will never be contented with that because there's always something new to learn. If you show me a technique that you use that I think gives a better result, that is better than mine, I have no issues shelving what I do and incorporating that, because at the end of the day it's about producing a top quality world class product. But again, I've always been very meticulous about detail and cut and line and fit, and to me tailoring epitomizes that. Okay. Because one of the key things about bespoke tailoring is the maximum reduction of bulk. You don't want bulk. The thing is, clean lines. To have clean lines, you gotta have clean finishes. Right. So everything that's done on the inside has pretty much results in that. Right. So this
kind of like a light footprint in a sense.
Light footprint. So this lining is actually what is replaced to
give that little body that it needs.
Give that little body.
I see. Okay.
Right. So those little details really is like, wow. I would not even thought to do that. And the thing is that you're not going to see those things in books. No. So that's the other aspect of it. Then there's Carrie Festa. In November, I think of 2017, when I met Andrew Ramroop. Okay. Professor Andrew Ramroop. Yeah. The first black master tailor on Saville Row. Trinidadian born, migrated to the UK in the late 60s, early 70s. Worked his way up to actually become the owner of Maurice Sedwell on Saville Row. If you know anything about bespoke tailoring, you know that Saville Row is the place.
Creme de la creme.
Creme de la creme when it comes to men bespoke tailoring. And so he was actually offering, he has Saville Row Academy, a school that has been in existence 12 years in the UK.
Training.
So he decided to bring an integration of that to the Caribbean. When I found out about that, I was like, you know what? Okay, this is my opportunity. You can read books, you can pick up things, you can come across your own details, but when you have somebody who is a master at it, then there's certain things that they can translate to you, even things that they don't speak and things that they don't say.
Right.
They're things that you learn from being in the presence of
observing.
Yeah, just observing.
Yeah.
Just observing. So I mean, what I would say is that if you want to progress, be patient, take risks, make sacrifices. Because oftentimes that is what it takes to get to the next step. I am so happy that I actually did that, because what that did then was take me to the next level.
Right. Up until 2017, that you would have been how many years into your own development? About 20 years?
Yeah, about 20 years.
Yeah, well, 20 years. So 20 years you're crafting, you're figuring it out, you're self-teaching, you're experimenting. Professor, that really brings me to this question. Really, how tenable really is it now for high-end bespoke brands? You know, given like, I don't want to say, but in a sense, given like our survival focus. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, I need money for food. I need money for, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just carrying on my life. How tenable is it still to focus on a luxury market for these goods?
I read something recently which was very interesting, and it says that Lamborghini owners do not watch television. This is why Lamborghini do not advertise on television.
Okay.
Right? But Lamborghini cars, Bentley top of the range cars, or I call them cars, but automobiles, I mean fantastic top of range. They build them by hand and they sell for $750,000 US each.
Or more?
Yeah, for one car. They've got a special range. They build actually only 7 and they sold for several million each. There will always be, in that pyramid, there will always be the clientele who would want the finest things in life and they can afford it. They've made their money out of their intellectual ability and they want to enjoy whatever there is out there to enjoy. They will enjoy the cars, but there is nowhere to go. They'll enjoy the holidays, but there's nowhere to go on a holiday. They can't. And I think it's important that if you care about yourself, you will care about how you present yourself. Whether it's for business on Zoom calls or whether it's for business on VIX, what's it called? VMIX call, whatever it might be. It is that you present yourself in a way because you care about your audience.
Yeah. I got you. I feel you, man. I feel you. Listen, so this episode we feature one of your graduates, Rosca McDonald. I hope you had a great time twisting his ears and telling him get those stitches straight. I'm just kidding. I'm sure.
What I appreciate very much about Rosca is, you know, in every field of endeavor, the profession, so to speak, you know, in medicine, in law, accountancy, you'll find in those professions, they go out and they do courses, they upgrade, they become relevant, they update themselves. And in the field of sartorial art, in tailoring, we don't do that. And what I appreciate about Rosca, he left Barbados, he left his family, and he came to train under me because he cared about the standards that he was producing. He wanted to lift his game. He wanted to offer his customers a better experience. And he went about training himself for that. And I think that's very, very important. Kudos to him that he's actually made all those enormous sacrifices to be where he is now, in the interest, not only for his own knowledge, but in the interest of producing a higher standard for his customers.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you being open and creating the opportunities for the rest of us to come through and to learn, to develop and come up to these standards. That's very, very cool, and we appreciate that very much, though. Just before we go out and switch into the episode, tell all of us where we can find you easily online.
Or you can find us easily. I can't hide, actually. You can find my company, Maurice Sedwell, on the YouTube channel.
Right.
You can Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram, Andrew Ramroop. But you just Google Andrew Ramroop and you'll find me.
Thank you so much, Professor. It was wonderful chatting with you. I hope you enjoyed the episode, as well as everyone else who's tuning in, logging on and checking us out at gettailored.com and Get Tailored on Instagram and Get Tailored on YouTube. Let's go see what's up with Rosca, how this went. And then you have the opportunity to hit up Saville Row Academy in Trinidad with Andrew Ramroop. Yeah. So what did that bring to your levels to move up?
Right. I mean, I was one of the more mature students in the class. There are a couple of us there, and I know we've had a certain level of knowledge and skill.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I didn't go with what can this man teach me. My thing was that I'm going as a blank slate.
Gotcha.
But let me pretend I don't know a single thing.
I see.
Less what I know becomes a hindrance to my own learning and development in that program.
Those details that you're pointing out to me on the suit, the collar, the buttonholes, you know what I'm saying, like the flaps, how the pockets are made and so on. When you're in the construction of the suit itself, you know what I'm saying? Like, tell me more about the anatomy of the jacket, you know? Talk to me.
Okay, so we can't talk about the anatomy of the suit without talking about anatomy, period. Right? Similarly, where we have a body, if we didn't have a skeleton, we couldn't stand, we couldn't function as we do with a skeleton. So a suit has a skeleton, and that's what you don't see. So the better the skeleton, the better the suit.
I see. All right.
So to speak with the anatomy of a suit, we have to speak about the internals. So we have canvas, different types of canvases that we actually use. There's something called domet. So we actually have to build up the chest area. Now what a jacket does, and it's supposed to do, is to enhance the figure. Okay. But the thing is that none of us have perfect bodies. There's certain parts of your body that are going to be a little more developed that take you through life.
True,
you might not even realize it, and you might think, wait, I buy a shirt, but one sleeve is longer than the next. That's not necessarily the case. It might be that you have a drop shoulder. So I can exaggerate it like this. It might be drop right, it might be drop left. As you get older, you may get a little more corpulence, at least again in the body type, so a little more corpulence around the midsection. Right? And what happens is that with that X-ray in there, what tends to happen is that there's a forward, and so what happens is the shoulders go back. Right? And then some people might be a little hunched. So what happens is that you have a longer back length. So what Bespoke does really is to take all of those features into consideration and create a suit that is going to enhance your figure. One thing about Bespoke is that it is mostly sewn by hand. And so this takes countless hours. This is not mass produced in a factory in Bangladesh or China from a mass produced pattern. And we can get to pattern as well, because pattern is very important.
Of course.
So I would take your measurements,
right?
And then from those measurements, I'm going to create a pattern from your direct measurements, suited for you.
Yeah.
And if we're doing made to measure, what made to measure is basically I take a pattern, maybe a pre-made pattern, input your dimensions, and create the suit.
I see.
One other key thing is that we want broad shoulders. We want that illusion of a V-taper,
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
Especially as you get older.
Right. You lose that athletic physique. But you still want to look sharp.
You still want to look sharp.
Right.
You want to look sharp. So we have a nice strong shoulder and we have a nice cinch waist, right? That actually gives that illusion and makes it look taller too. So it's all about making the client look good. So when you wear a suit, and when you wear a Rosca Bespoke suit, you're not just wearing a suit, you're wearing confidence. Because you know, when you look good, you feel good, you walk good. That is what you exude.
Rosca Bespoke Tailoring, how awesome was that? The amount of detail that goes into making a beautiful suit come to life is incredible. I mean, whether it's the amount of tools that are used, whether it's the handwork that's done, the flaps, the lining, the padding, the thread that is used, all the particular details that are important to making a beautiful suit, we took a look at. And we're so thankful for Rosca for inviting us over, seeing the process, going through some of the details, and yeah, that was pretty dope. So this is #Tailored. Stay with us.